Well, when you ask me about Western civilization, I'll look at it the same way I'll look at a question that goes, what is your opinion about the tooth fairy? Things that don't exist. Western civilization to me seems like a child, of falsification and also white inferiority, So there's not such a thing like Western civilization. I think it is a coined terminology to sort of imply that there is a community somewhere here that is more civilized, more dominant, But there's no truth to it. It does not really come from the place of reality. And for you to be asking me such a question here, it's a joke, I'm sorry to say, but I get that the platform requires that we give our bold opinions about things. But then it's not just, an opinion, because now an opinion is simply, it could be made up, it could be false. And I'm stating facts here. So, that's how I see it, and that's how it is. And why do I say that now? I want to give you a story as an example. You're here, just like me. One of the biggest, big-time stories is the story of this country being the cradle of Western civilization. And if you look at one of the videos that we did recently, exploring, the country's, state-of-the-art lifestyle, I also say the same word. And you told me, why are you saying that if you don't believe this? And I think this is where this question is coming from. It was more a quote-unquote kind of a statement. But that doesn't mean that I believe into it. And I think if you watch that video, you'll find that I'm saying that considered, not me. I'm not considering this, to be. But one of the stories, big time stories, that really kind of put this greatness civilization, claim to it brings it to life from this land. It's the story of a teenager from Macedonia, Alexander the Great. And it's funny that he's so great, but there's only one name that is remembered. You would think that for someone to be so great, like, I know all my heroes, I can name them, I can give you 2 names or more. But there's a hero here who does not somehow, his greatness could not help to keep his name into the picture of history. But when you ask someone, why is he great? It's the mentality that has been pushed into movies, into poems, into stories, into tabloids, But there is no actual truth to it. When we read a little bit, but those who read, they read even more. I'm just saying this because read, really, not so much. But I watch a lot. So when we watch, we see that one of the reasons he is referred to as the great is that he invaded, and he was creating an empire. And he was dominant, For a lot of white people to be dominant is to be great. They don't care how you do it. They don't care if there's a genocide. They don't care if there's lies. They don't care if there's unfairness. But as long as it serves the agenda, and which is being the number one, being the reference point of greatness, of beauty, of success, of wisdom, So they're going to push it. And when you ask, trying to analyze, how does a story so evil become exemplary? How does a story so evil become great? How does a person who commits such atrocities just after some time can be referred to as a great person? They don't like that, you know. A lot of Greek people here, for example, they feel offended, and this video could offend some people. But if the truth is going to offend you, then you shouldn't be here. You should be watching probably some cartoons, or this is not your content. But anyway, when I ask if the man looted, exploited, plundered, executioned, stole, you name it, if it was done to somebody else, that is okay, you know. And probably if it was done at a different time, that is okay. But if you ask the defendants, if all these atrocities were done to you right now, would that be okay? If someone broke into your house, raped your daughters, enslaved your sons, you know, took your belongings, he did all that, probably burn your house down, probably take your land, would you sit down and say, well, I'm so lucky because I am witnessing our time's great, you know? No, you would not do that. You would call the police immediately. So, if you cannot tolerate that kind of nonsense and evil and cruelty, why would you think that somebody who commits it is great somehow? The other thing that I see that helps people in the West pretty much paint a picture of Western civilization is infrastructure, you know, and I credit them for that. They have good roads, you know, excellent infrastructure. The state of the infrastructure is okay, is nice, you know. There's a thing or two to take away. The negative side of it is that they have put themselves into a position automatically by default, I would say. They have put themselves in a position of referencing, you know. You can have a building, but if it does not fit their narrative of a good building, then that is not a good building. And you have poor infrastructure, you have poor roads, you know, you have poor systems, you have poor democracy. Because they define what democracy is, they define what infrastructure is, they define, and not just that, but pretty much everything, you know, how you dress. If you're not dressing like them, you are not civilized. If you don't make your hair, do your hair the way that they want, you are not civilized. If you don't speak a certain language, you are not civilized. If you don't understand a certain god, you are not civilized, you know. So I don't know who made them the judge, you know, but they feel comfortable doing that, and they like doing that. And if you try to say otherwise, you know, they immediately show you that they are being attacked and they will retaliate immediately. I disagree with all that, you know. I think it is not right. It is not a given gift, you know, a birthright. They don't have it, but they just kind of take it as they are used, you know, to take things. Now, apart from that self-empowerment and mislocation, I see that the third thing that helps push the ideology of Western civilization could also come from, you know, self-empowerment. Because when you think you're powerful and anybody else is not, when you think that you're wise, anybody else is not. I was in a position in my life back in the day when I was meeting people from different, ethnic backgrounds and religions. It was a messy situation at the time. You kind of made groups, and I don't want to go into it, don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's not the agenda, but I'm just trying to give you a story. So we made groups that I was a member of a group, I would say, that kind of helped, into in the whole mess, I would say. So I remember that people used to kind of applaud me or people that were in this group that were black, more than they did for anybody else that was white. Let's say if there was some sort of an assignment, they were looking for ideas or suggestions, and then they will put it to everybody in the group. And then anybody will come out and give out, their opinion, their plan, their suggestion, whatever. You also come to say what you think. I was grateful that I was given the opportunity to be listened to. But it wasn't a big thing. It wasn't a big deal, to be honest. But the applause that came with it. And at first, I was kind of silly. I thought, maybe I'm just killing it, But then I acknowledged that if it wasn't me or the other black guys, there was no applause. And I started looking at it this way. If you have a dog, you know what the dog can do, and you think that you know what the dog cannot do. But if the dog went out of your expectations and did something probably extraordinary and blew up your expectations, you'll be like, "Oh, Simba, good job. Wow, Simba," So that was the experience that I witnessed. So from the very small things, you often get massive applause. But the next person does not get that because they are expected to perform this way. But you are not expected to perform this way, And so when you do perform out of their expectations, they are like, "Oh my God." It is funny and it's stupid, but I never showed because I wanted to remain the good. I don't think I am a bad person. I'm not claiming to be, good, but So I'm trying to talk to you about the idea that someone can really put themselves into some shoes. Bam. But for civilization and its format, I don't see it, coming from the West. Nah. Because there is so much evil in the West. There is still so much evil in the West. There has been so much evil in the West. And for them to say that there is Western civilization, then it would change the meaning of that. Maybe there is a different meaning, but you cannot be civilized and own people, enslave others, exploit others, commit genocides, always lie, to see that your agenda, goes through. Always pretend. I mean, the amount of work that it would take for the West to consciously use that terminology in a way that is fitting, I don't see that they have that kind of energy. I don't see that they can put in that kind of work because for centuries, things have been happening and happening. When you make another region poor, when you make another region insecure, when you make sure that the other region makes your region better to the degree of deciding to maintain that, not for just 10 years, but for centuries. I don't know, but I'm just gonna say it's evil. And I understand some would say, well, if we are starving and somebody's got food, we are going to steal it because we also need to feed ourselves. We need to feed our children. If that's how you see it, then you need to see a doctor. Because I think any civilized individual would understand how to get the same food, but in ways and methods that still benefit the person that has food and the person that needs food. Not just one-way traffic. And so for someone to sit into that, raise their children, raise their grandchildren, raise their great, and so on children, and feel comfortable and know for sure that we are in the position we are today because we are making the other region broke and poor, and devastated. You are evil. And I don't want to come off as a hater, I'm not trying to say that I don't like this race, I don't like that tribe, I don't like that God, I don't like that religion. No. And if you ask me, am I saying all white people are evil? The answer is no. But I want to sound like, and I'm sounding like, and I'm saying that all evil is white. Because when we see every piece of history, every televised piece of history, everything that has been committed, in the name of evil, has been white. So that's a truth that you cannot really go away from,